This morning we are most fortunate to have May from Scotland. Woo! With us as our speaker, and I've asked Maarten to introduce her to us.
Good morning, guys. My name is Maarten. I'm an addict. I'm actually very nervous to do this, to make it all about me for a little moment. But I am very honored to introduce my good friend May to you this morning. I first met May when me and my friend Hannah were at the Ireland convention in 2019. And May is one of those people that comes up to you and she bounces off the wall basically, like always. She's like, in Dutch we would say the Duracell-konijntje, the Energizer Bunny. I got to hang out with her again for an whole weekend at that Wiener's in Tipperary. If she ever invites you to come to Tipperary, you should immediately take the invitation. It's like a wellness weekend to go to Wiener's. Well, we got picked up from the airport, me and Hannah, and May was there as well. And that was one hell of a car ride, wasn't it, May? May, it's like a 2.5 hour drive, I think. May never shut up for the entire drive. Once we arrived at Wiener's, I knew all about May. Basically, I knew her story. I knew what was going on in her dating life at that moment, which were quite a couple of things. She might tell you about that later. But what I learned over that weekend is that she is one of the most kind-hearted people that I've ever met. Actually, she's one of those people that you will have a great laugh with, and she will immediately switch to very touchy subjects, and she will just reach out and touch your heart immediately. And she has a special connection with us Dutchies. We were just having a little talk before we came in. Are you crying already, May? You got 45 minutes left still. Because she knows a lot of the people she met here from her career. And yeah, I just love you to death, May. It's like I said, in Ireland, during the meditations we did there, during the morning prayers we did there with the group we were with, you just reached out and touched my heart, and I'm pretty sure that she will do the same to you this morning. So I'll leave it at that. May, the floor is yours.
Goedemorgen. My name's May, I'm an addict. Wow. I feel very overwhelmed today with love is the only word I could use, actually. I've already been crying a few times this morning, and I'm not wanting to I don't know what I want to do, but I'm going to carry a message. I hope to God that I can carry a message of truth and hope for you today, and I can touch somebody in this room, and if I can do that today, I'm going to be happy, but I need to tell you the truth. I'm very overwhelmed with love, because there's so many people here that I love dearly, and I've come to know a lot of you very well, and I feel the love today. And we were just having a wee chat there, and I feel that my God has not only saved me, but gave me a heart that can hold a lot of love. And for that, I'm very grateful, you know. So, but let's get on with this. Let's get down to the bloody nitty-gritty. Yes? And because we can be all that emotional, we all, till the cows come home, let's talk about the good stuff. And I'm very mindful, oh, thank you so much, Kelly. I'm very mindful that this is being recorded, and thank the Lord for that, because first things bloody well first, you Dutch guys drive on the fucking wrong side of the road. No. Now, I tell you, when I walk out in Scotland and I walk out from the pavement to the road, I need to look right. And I come the bus to the beach the other day and I walk out in the road and I nearly get bloody well killed. The cars are coming that way. So you need to stop it now. Okay? You need to stop it and turn it around and get on the left-hand side of the road, which is the right side, obviously. Now, there's another thing that I need to get out there before I start my story, and it's very, very important that I'm glad it's being recorded, so guys in Scotland, take note when you hear this, and across the world, obviously. I went to a meeting the other night with some friends in this room in Den Haag. Now, I've never been to any meeting like this in my life. They had cups where they put big dollops of cake in and they handed it round the whole room. And they had lots of biscuits, not just 1 or 2 packets. The whole room was eating cake and biscuits. So I hope you can hear me across the world. Get the cake out in the cup, pass it round, yeah? So it's very wonderful to be here. I'm blown away by the love this weekend from the Dutch guys and girls. What a wonderful committee. Thank you, Martin, for being my friend. Thank you for having me here in Holland. And it's nice to spend some time with my good friend Edwina as well. I want to tell you a wee bit about my story and hope that it'll inspire you to think about life and love. I was brought up in an alcoholic household. I won't go on about that a lot. There was a lot of abuse and stuff and violence. I was brought up in a very violent house. If there's violence today, you won't see me for dust. I'll be running away. I don't like violence of any kind. I can't cope. I still can't cope. I'm 55 now and I can't cope with it. I don't want people to be violent. And but this is how I was brought up, and it was very wonderful because I found the solution very quickly. I was 9 years old and I found the solution, and the solution was alcohol. And by God, it fucking helped me a lot. It got me through those days when I couldn't cope with my family, when I couldn't cope with what was going on. Alcohol was a dear friend. It was a magical thing. It took me away to another world, and it was wonderful. It was absolutely wonderful. So thank God I had found the solution then. I didn't know anything else. I didn't have anything else. That was the solution for me. And every single time I took a drink, I felt so much better. Yeah, so whatever was going on was going on. I had a solution. I had something to keep me away from it, to keep me outside of it, to keep me protected and safe. And I really don't want to, go on too much about that, but I ended up going to stay in a children's home. I don't know what you call it here in Holland, but it's a home for children. And it was the most wonderful thing in my life. There were really nice people there. They loved the children. There was no abuse. There was no violence. And it was just wonderful. And there was the most amazing thing. Chocolate cake. Yeah, they found me one night sitting on the floor of the cupboard, eating it with my hands. Chocolate cake become one of my first loves after vodka, obviously. Vodka, wine, beer, and all the stuff, anything that changed my mood. And I've got to tell you, the chocolate cake really did it as well. It was wonderful. But, even though we were brought up like that, I wasn't very street savvy, I've got to tell you the truth. I didn't get street savvy, street aware, until I came into recovery at 42 years of age. I was a very naive person. I was very naive. I just was. And I left the home and went to stay with my sister. I couldn't go back home. And I met my first boyfriend, and I loved him. I absolutely loved him. And I wanted to marry him and have his babies and have a nice garden and make nice food. I was very naive. I was 13 years old. And by the time I was 14, I was pregnant with my daughter, Samantha. And I had the baby when I was 15, and he left when I was 16. And I felt that somebody had reached into my heart and fucking pulled it out. I felt heartless. I couldn't breathe. I wanted this relationship to work so badly. I was so dependent on him. I just wanted him to love me. I wanted him to love me, and he didn't, and he left me for this beautiful woman. I hated her. I hated her. She was so beautiful. She had beautiful clothes, and she had a lovely air about her. And I didn't feel like that at all. My whole life I felt ugly. I didn't feel pretty at all. I didn't feel funny, happy. I relied on something else to make me feel a wee bit better. So I've got this child. I'm continuing to drink and use drugs, and I go through the cards with the drug. It's a funny thing because cocaine wasn't one of my drugs. I only tried cocaine once in somebody's house when I was away scoring heroin. And I ended up running about the house pulling all my clothes off. That was actually funny. My boyfriend was running about after me. May, stop. I was like, trying to get all my clothes off. I was smoking a crack pipe, actually. So I always had this feeling. I used to watch people. I still do it. I'm going to tell you, I still do it. I don't want to. I'm better now. 13 years down the road, I'm certainly better, but I'm not perfect. Neither will I be, but I watch people. What do they do? How do they do it? It was great because I learned about style and fashion in Cocaine Anonymous. I didn't really know what to put together, how to put an outfit together. When I come into recovery, I was wearing my daughter's knickers. I hadn't bought clothes for 13 years. I hadn't been to a hairdresser for 15 years. Makeup, perfume, deodorant wasn't a part of my life. I spent my whole life taking drugs, shoplifting to pay for the habit. And I always had my children, but they should have been taken off of me. My children should have been removed from my care, but they weren't because I was sneaky about it. You see, you know how we can be like that? Well, I certainly could be. And I done the best I could, and I loved my children then, and I love them now. I was just a drug addict, and I was lost, and I suffered for this illness that separated me from everything and everybody. And I just wanted to be a good woman, and I wanted to be, have a job and look after my kids. And every time I shoplifted, my whole life, my mother took us out when we were about 5 or 6 and showed us how to do it. And my whole life, even when I was a small child, it used to make me feel sick. Every single time I done it, every time, I used to feel physically sick. Sometimes I was sick in shops. I couldn't hold it down. My higher self saying all the time, May, what are you doing? Yeah. So, fast forward the tape. I have 3 children now to 3 different fathers. I can't get a hold on a relationship. We had trouble with personal relationships is a fucking understatement for me. I couldn't hold it down. I was a drug addict. I was an alcoholic. I didn't know who I was. I don't even know how I had a partner in the first place, to be quite honest with you. I wasn't the slightest bit attractive in any way. And I went through my life like that, going from one drug to another. And I ended up finding heroin, my love, when I was 30 years of age, and I felt that I had arrived. I felt that I had arrived. I found a drug that done everything. It put its arms around me and cuddled me and kept me safe, this drug. And how wonderful was that? And nothing could touch me now. I found my sanctuary with this drug. And very, very quickly, I was using it every day. And I did that for 12 years. And I got to 42, and I've got my 3 children, and I have nothing else. I have nothing in my house. You wouldn't bring your dog into my house, please believe me. I had sheets nailed against the wall. I didn't even have curtains. I had nothing. I couldn't shoplift towards the end. It was too painful and it was too hard for me to do. And I just wanted to die. I couldn't see a way out. I tried and tried and tried to stop. I just wanted to stop taking drugs and I couldn't do it. I tried using this, changing it for that, taking the fentanyl out, taking the dihydrocodone out, taking the heroin out, taking the vodka out, changing it for Valium. You know the story, I don't need to go on. I tried all things known to man. I went to psychologists, psychoanalysts, and psychiatrists, and I never told any of them the truth. I told none of them the truth. I told them parts of the truth, but that was it. And I tried to take my own life, and I'm 42 and I can't see a way forward. And I think my daughters are better off without me. And I can't cope. And when I come to after that, I just cried and cried because I can't even take my own life. I don't have the courage to pick a knife up, and I want to, please believe me. I can't live this life anymore. My neighbours shun me. My whole family turned their back on me. I have my children and I shouldn't have, and I'm living in a hovel. That's what I live in. And through a series of events that happen, I end up at a meeting, and through that meeting, I end up going into a place in Glasgow where I was born and brought up. And the man told me, he looked me in the eye and he says to me, May, we're going to help you get off all those drugs. And I says to him, no, you won't. You don't understand. I says, I've tried for 6 years to get clean. I can't get clean. I went, you can't help me. What can you do that's going to be different from what I've tried? And he says to me, I give you my word. I guarantee. Because I was on a list of drugs. You will be off all of that in 2 weeks. And I cried and cried. And I thought, there was something about this man that I trusted. I didn't trust another adult, but all of a sudden I trust this man. I know what he's saying. I don't know why, but I know what this man's saying is real. I went into that place that Monday morning, didn't want to go. I was lying in the fetal position, crying, I was literally pulling my hair out my head, pulling it out to feel some kind of something. And I ended up getting into that project, and I was a mess, a total mess. And I had diarrhea. I was sick on the bus. My heart was thudding. I was roasting hot. I was so warm. I was so cold and shivering. And that went on like that for 5 weeks. And I'd done the 2-week detox. And on the 30th of May 2009, I had my first day clean ever. This is my first time clean. I've never been clean before. This is it for me. I'm not going back for nothing or for no one. I don't want to. I love my life the way it is today, you know. So I actually couldn't believe what happened, because I can't envisage getting my kids up for school in the morning without drinking vodka or taking some heroin. I just can't imagine it. But this miraculous, magical thing happened. Yeah, I felt like shit. I did. You all know the story, you've been there. I had to withdraw, my body had to withdraw. I'm 42 years of age, I've used every day since I was 9, I've never had a day of grace, never. This is it now. I'm panicking about this. Get the kids out to school, I got my kids, my 2 youngest kids out to school every morning, in and out the toilet. Yeah, sweating, can't eat anything, can't keep anything down, sick. My body's in chaos. My body can't cope. I had drugs in it since it was 9, never had a day clean, can't cope. It's like hitting a wall for me. 2 kids out of school, across the other side of Glasgow, into the project, stayed there every day till 4 o'clock, learned about the 12-step programme. Learned about it. It's given to me on a plate. The solution was given to me on a plate. Home, bus home at night, made my children's dinners, done their homework, got their stuff ready for school, right out the door. Every day for 90 days, another meeting, another meeting, another meeting. I start to get really fucking pissed off with you lot, because you all look great and I feel terrible. And I start comparing how I feel on the inside to how you look on the outside. I want what you've got. I want your nice jewellery. I'm very jealous of the ladies in CA. They're all beautiful and they're gorgeous women. And I'm so jealous of them. I want their clothes and their jewellery and their shoes and their boyfriends. And I want a boyfriend. I've not had sex for 6 years. And I'm like, yeah! Let's do it, baby. But thank God my sponsor was like me, don't stay away from the men. I mean, I wasn't in a position to be doing things like that anyway, but I really wanted to have sex, you know? And it was true, I came awake, I woke up physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, I woke up. And I really wanted to have a boyfriend. Everybody in the fucking place had a boyfriend. Everywhere I went, people were standing at bus stops, kissing and holding hands and walking down the street together and sitting in restaurants. And I was like the sad sack. You know. Nobody loved me. And that wasn't true. That was not true. So I started to wake up. Hallelujah. Thank the Lord, I started to wake up. I started to see the truth. I couldn't ever see the truth. I couldn't differentiate the true from the false. I was a crazy woman. For 9 whole months, I thought if I looked you in the eye, you could read my mind. So I'm not looking you in the eye when I talk to you. When I talk to you, I'm looking down there. Because if I look you in the eye, you can see who I am. And see, if you see who I am, you're going to hate me. And see, if you hate me, like I think everybody else does, what's the use of being here? I'd be as well just going. There's no use being here. My mental health was very bad. It was dark. My mental health was very dark. But I didn't realise that I walked, was taking root and branch, put into a life better than I've ever known. I didn't know. I walked right into the light. And there was people like you, and you were all clean, and you were great, and you were doing the fucking deal. And you told me what to do. Get a sponsor, join a group, do the stuff. Stay away from guys. And that's what I done. And there was lots of lovely men in the fellowship. But I done what my sponsor asked me to do. She says, May get through the steps, then you can have sex if you want it. And I thought, well, that's fair enough. How long's that? And yeah, so I got through the steps when I was 9 months. And I met a nice, lovely man from AA, and what a rare old tear we had to ourselves, as they say in Scotland. But on the serious side of things, it was hard because I kept comparing myself to you. I kept looking at you and thinking that you were prettier than me and that you were doing better than me. Your understanding of God was certainly better than mine. You make it look so easy. You know, why does Caroline speak so easy like that? Constant in my mind, this constant comparison, comparing myself with somebody else. It was tiring, it was exhausting, but I couldn't stop doing it. I couldn't stop, and I didn't know, I didn't realise, I got through the steps, and I got about step 1 in powerlessness and coming to believe and making a decision and all that, and 4 and 5 and all the other steps. I got a wee bit of it. It took me a few years. Remember, I left school pregnant at 14. I didn't have much of an education. It took me quite a few years to get a real understanding, and I was the person that was working hard at this stuff. I got a sponsor, I joined a group. I sponsored 1,000 women or more. I kept giving it away and I didn't understand. I didn't understand that I wasn't whole yet. I still don't feel a whole person, but I feel a lot better today than I have ever done, yeah? But I didn't understand that I was giving a burnt-out version of the 12 steps and other things away. I didn't understand that. But I kept going anyway, and I kept doing it, and I think it was all right. Was it not all right? Because I'd done it. I helped other women, I sponsored them, I joined a group, I was there to make you tea if you come in. I was doing this stuff. I was doing it, and I'd done it. And so I want to say to you, it's hard some days. But in early recovery, please don't make the mistake of thinking that I'm talking about now. I only have moments that are difficult now. I've not had a hard day for years. Oh, yeah. So don't make the mistake of thinking that I'm speaking about now, because early recovery's a trudge, right enough. It's a trudge. You know, it's difficult. So the years passed. I wanted to be educated. I didn't have a job or anything. I wanted to pay my own rent. I didn't want the government paying for my stuff anymore. I wanted to pay for it. I wanted to stand up on my own 2 feet. That's what I wanted. So when I was 18 months clean, I went to college and I'd done a national certificate in health and social care. Ooh, it was great. It was really good. Yeah, I just done masses of voluntary work with women, and I'd done masses of 12-step work. You know, I would just, at one point I had 5 or 6 sponsees on the go at the same time. So 5 or 6 nights in my life was spent sponsoring. Yeah, and one night I would be at my sponsors, knackered, you know, tired, done in. This is the stuff that we do. I'm not standing here today telling you how to do anything right or wrong. I'm just telling you how I see it. I'm telling you how, from my perspective only, yeah? And I think that we learn this stuff as we go on, and it's good. It's good that we see other people and we think, oh, look what he's doing, look what Nick's doing. That's great, I'm going to learn, I'm going to take on board what Nick says and does, and Edwina says, and Caroline and other people in the room. That's a great idea that Martin said. How brilliant is that, what Joyce is doing? Yeah, I'm going to take it, that's good, because I never thought of that. I can't think of the things myself. But through you, through the fellowship across the world, I have learned to be the woman that I am today. And I want to tell you a bit about that now. I want to tell you a bit about the love that's in my heart and how that happened. I don't know who my God is, no idea, but I was saved from the scrap heap. I was taken from hell because I lived there. I lived in hell. And I was put into a life better than I have ever known. And that is my story. And that is my hard-won experience. I rolled my sleeves up in here. You fucking roll your sleeves up if you're new. And you do the work. whether you have sex or not. Whether you have money or not. I walked about with a hole in my shoes for about 3 or 4 months. I was ashamed. I used to go into meetings and my feet were smelly. But I was there. I was clean. I just wanted to stay clean. And a friend from CA come one night and she says, "Me, I'm going to run you home." I used to walk 58 minutes. It took me from my house to the meeting. 58 minutes. I'd done it so often, and 58 minutes home. And she says, "I'm going to give you a lift home. I've got something for you." I was embarrassed to take her into my house. My house had no carpets, no paint on the walls, no curtains. And me and my children lived there. And I had to stop shoplifting. When I got clean, my sponsor told me stop stealing. And I didn't know how to get things now. And this woman come to my house and she come in and I says to her outside in her car, I says, "I'm sorry, my house is a terrible mess." She says, "I'm not here to see your house, mate." She says, "I'm here to see you and to help you." And she came into the house. Good sounds, yeah? She came into the house and she had this big bag and there was curtains and the girls, my daughters were there and we're like, yeah. And there's lots of clothes for your daughters. Designer wear. Ooh. We were all like, my daughters were like, "Oh, yeah, here we go." So we all got something out the bag. And at the very bottom of the bag, I don't know if I've told you guys this story, I don't think so. At the very bottom of the bag, there was a box. And I says to her, "What's that?" I didn't want to touch it. It seemed very, I don't know, it just looked expensive or something. And she says, "It's a shoebox, May." I says to her, what's in it?" She said, "Shoes." So I took the box out of the bag and it says along the side of the box, Prada. And I says to her, "What the fuck's Prada?" I didn't know, honestly. She says, "It's a really expensive make." I says to her, I says, "I knew this was funny. I don't want to open it." She says, "May I open the box?" She says, "They're for you." And I thought, I was feeling a wee bit sick. And I opened the box and I seen the ugliest pair of training shoes I've ever seen in my life. Oh, by God, they were ugly. They were purple and silver, but who was I, you know? I wore them for 3.5 years. I wore them with jeans, I wore them with skirts, I wore them with dresses. And I loved those Prada training shoes. I put my feet in them and I felt that I was walking on air. And I loved them. And when I went to put them in the bin, I cried. I remembered the day she gave me them. And my life had changed so much when I was 3.5 years. And I was very grateful for the Prada trainees, as I've been for everything. I have gratitude and I cultivate it in my heart just by being here today. Being alive, clean and free. Yeah. Now, some of you know, some of you don't know, and it doesn't really matter. It is the truth of me. It doesn't matter what happens to you in here. Don't come and tell me that you've got a sore head, or that your boyfriend left you, or that your wife doesn't love you anymore, or that you've no money, so you had to use. Don't ever tell me that, because it's not true. Under no circumstances do we use. We can never, ever, ever use in safety. My two brothers, I lost my two young brothers. No matter that we buried were family members we don't use. My mum and dad, buried them, don't use. Had cancer, diagnosed with cancer, don't use. My relationship, I wanted to marry this man, I met him, I loved him, and he relapsed, and I didn't want to let him go, and I tried for a year to get him clean, and I couldn't do it. He didn't want to get clean, and I didn't use. No using, ever, for any reason, just for today. I educated myself. I got through the cancer with God's help because I was scared, and I still get scared sometimes, and that's the truth, that it'll come back. I want to live. I don't want to die just now. I'm really happy and want to do shit. But sometimes I get scared of things still. The fear has not been totally eradicated, but massive chunks of fear have been taken out of my life. I faced one of my biggest fears recently, and there was nobody could have helped me with it. I tell you, only God, and that is who I went to, and I got through it. And I stand here a stronger woman for that today. I give you my word on that. I stand here a stronger woman. All my life I thought there was ghosts and entities about, and maybe there is. But I was stuck in a wee room, and I woke up at 2 a.m, and I knew there was something in the room with me, and I didn't know what it was. And I started to say the Lord's Prayer over and over and over because I didn't know what else to do. I knew there was somebody next door. And I realised it was all in me. It was shown to me, it was revealed to me, it was in me, it was all in me. And I got freedom from that. So today, what I do today is I work full time. My children are all grown up. My oldest daughter's 40 next week. The girl I had when I was 15. We're going to celebrate in Glasgow her 40th birthday. They're so glad that I'm still alive. My children love me dearly. My oldest daughter's got her own jewellery business. My middle daughter's got 2 children. I'm a grandmother. And my youngest daughter, Maya, is at Glasgow University studying politics. And I was able to be there for the last 13 years for my children, not always, sometimes falteringly. Sometimes I couldn't cope with them. Sometimes I didn't want to be a mum. Sometimes I still don't. It's awful difficult being a mum. I've never found it easy, that's the truth. I've never found it easy, but I've always loved my children. So the kids are doing well today. Everybody's all right. I'm doing okay. I work. I read stories to people. I'm a storyteller. I don't write them. I just read them. And I do meditations and stuff. One of the big things that I've found that's followed me and still with me today, I'm still not very good at relationships. Sometimes I feel sorry for myself because I can't find somebody that loves me, that I love. Most times I don't. I'm getting on with life and I'm doing my shit. Yeah. But sometimes I do. I feel a wee bit left out. And it's just self-pity, really. And I just carry on, throw ourselves the more into helping others. And I go to God and I say to God, what the fuck? That's the truth. What the fuck? Why? I'm a decent woman, I'm honest. Why can I not find somebody that I love? That's the truth. And some of my friends that are in relationships all say the same thing. They all say the same shit. Yeah, you're better being alone and loving yourself. You know, it's like, fuck right off. It's all right for you, isn't it? You're going home to your man tonight. You're getting, because I miss the things like cuddles and sex and love and laughs and this and that and banter. I miss all that. Same as everybody else. So we all want the same thing, do we not? We all want to love and be loved. And how good is that? Somewhere in me, because of the program, because of my relationship with a higher power, I know that it's on the cards. I know it's going to happen. I don't know when. That's the bit that I stick at, you see, because I'm so painfully human. I get impatient. Then I go into a dating site, as Martin was saying at the beginning. And it's terrible on these dating sites. I mean, it just is. I end up giving them all into bother. You know, I shout at them all and all that. It's terrible. I just shouldn't be on them. So that's my life. That's what happened for me. I was dead. I died. I really did die. And I was taken and shown the light. And today I live and I love deeply. I have been given that gift. So I don't know who you are. I don't know what you do or where you go to do it. I don't know who you love. But I know that when I look at you, you're like me. You have your struggles too. You have your thing. Yeah. But never forget. And here we are loved and appreciated, and not judged and accepted. And that is my sanctuary. This is my home. Cocaine Anonymous across this world is my home. You are my sisters and brothers, and I love you all. Kau Fanyao. I don't know what else to say. I think I'm finished. Thank you.